Hello, friends. We are here today to discuss the film The Killer, which is based on the graphic novel series, and we'll get into it. It's early. So, Susana, will you start us off with an introduction?
Hello, my name is Susana Imaginario. I am the author of Timelessness, and I run a YouTube channel called named Den of the Weird.
And Anthony.
My name is Anthony Self. I am a fellow member of the page chewing community. I have a YouTube channel called Horrible. And have written a couple of books that are available on Amazon. One is a dystopian novel called Birthday Treat, and the other one is an anthology of short horror tales.
Yes. So I guess before we get into it, did either of you read the graphic novel series before watching the movie?
No, I came into this kind of blind.
I didn't even know it was...
No, okay. Yeah. I've read most of it. I think there's a couple of volumes at the end that I have not read yet, but I've read most of them. So I'm curious to hear what both of you just generally about the... I guess the biggest complaint I've seen is that it's slow, that it's boring.
Well, personally, I had no complaints. But to be fair, I've came across the trailer a few months back, and I thought, oh, this looks interesting, and I completely forgot about it. And then I saw that you had the discussion, and I said, oh yeah, I remember that one. So I wouldn't have watched it otherwise, I don't think. I didn't think it was boring. I just thought it was okay. I didn't think it was mind-blowing either. I don't know how it compares with the comics, but it was very well written, well acted. But there was nothing particularly memorable or exciting or that would make him different from the other movie. Still enjoy it though.
I quite like the slow burn nature of this. It kind of reminded me of like Day of the Jackal and stuff. And I hazard a guess to say that was one of the main maybe inspirations behind, if not the graphic novel, then of this. And I think it kind of pays off as well because, we open up with a film with Michael Fassbender sitting across this luxurious hotel in France. And it's really, I think it's like the first half an hour of the film is just like him monologuing and going about his sort of daily life, and it's boring. And that's the whole point. Like, if you kind of think of it logistically in this, I mean, it's not boring, but it's like, the perception is that this is a slow, like this is his job, is to kind of stare at people for days on end. There's a part where he's walking down and he's saying, I dress up as a tourist, as a German tourist, because the French like really hate that look and everything. So there's a mythology to his kind of patience, and it kind of pays off in the way that he's kind of sitting there and he's just like, I might have to sit here for a month at a time. And you would go stir crazy a little bit. We hear him talking, waxing philosophical about the dead and how his job is just basically people die every day, and this is just a kind of drop in the ocean for him. And you get to see his point a little bit, but that also goes with that feeling of lethargy, shall we say? That's why he does the yoga. He's got to flex those muscles. He's got to keep himself loosey goosey.
I was very jealous of his, especially the forward bend. Oh. So I was like, I need to practice.
Yeah, he's very flexible. Yeah, I think it is. I think one of the reasons I really like the graphic novels because he describes how monotonous and boring it can be, and it's not. A job like this would be a lot of watching and waiting and plotting and observing, and so it wouldn't be like a John Wick kind of thing where you go in guns blazing every time. Otherwise, you wouldn't last very long. So it is like I say more realistic, but you almost have to have that attitude of so many people die every day. I'm killing one of these million people. What's the big deal? Like, you have to have that kind of mindset. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do what you do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you've got the mindset of a killer, your moral compass is going to be in a little gray area, I think, So yeah, I totally instantly draws me in as well, because this was a kind of the start of the movie is essentially something that you don't see in these type of assassin films, so to speak. You never see the kind of person sitting there days, possibly weeks at a time, surveying his prey, surveying his target with utmost precision as well. That's the thing that you really get within this character within the first 15 minutes. We watch a lot of films sometimes where maybe the characters are a bit two dimensional, maybe their traits are just little gimmicks. With this one, you kind of see it kind of opens up for later on as well, because he's got all these kind of codes in place, his little mottos, his little sayings, his little phrases that he keeps on repeating again and again and again, and it gets drilled into your head, like the audience's head, so much that when he does start breaking those rules or those codes, we're fully invested, I think, anyway.
I love the first 30 minutes, and I didn't think they were boring at all. It's just later on, and then kind of start losing interest up until the scene with Tilda Swinton, because that was amazing. I think was the highlight of the movie, and then kind of slow burn until the end. I think my issue with it was with the character. I mean, it was great. His introspection, the inner dialogue, the way it was written was brilliant, and all the little asides and how to. I mean, it's pretty hard to be an assassin these days, with cameras everywhere, and how he would go around it, and just the attention to detail. It was great, but I couldn't care about him. The same way that he didn't care about his skills. I didn't care about his character. I didn't care about his girlfriend. I didn't care if there was the lack of empathy kind of went both ways. I don't know if that was intentional or it just happened.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was intentional, that you're not really meant to be. At the end of the day, would you consider? By the way, what are we calling Michael Fassbender's character? Are we just calling him the killer throughout? Because he doesn't really have a name, does he? So should we just call him the killer? The killer with many names, shall we say? But I think that's part and parcel of what as you're meant to feel. I think is because he has so little empathy for his targets, i.e., snapping people's necks at a whim, stapling into someone's chest, so that when his plight is coming around, I think that's intentional, that you're not meant to actually go, like, you could leave it going, is he going to get killed himself? Would we care? Is he just going to be another sort of drop in the ocean because of this? And I like that. It had that perfect sort of balance of scaling your emotion to this character and how he's meant to feel. Do you want him to complete his mission? Do you want him to get to the end level boss, so to speak? And what is he going to do then? Or is he going to be the kind of tragic anti-hero that does try all these little things and then gets there, but then ultimately fails? I think it was really good the way they handled the balance of that, because I think it was intentional that we're meant to be feeling as despondent maybe as the killer is at the end. Because, he's got millions of, like, you can see he's got like this, is it in Haiti that he's got this place with his girlfriend? I would say for me, that was the
Dominican Republic.
Sorry, yeah. That for me, that was the girlfriend element. You don't really see too much of her, when he bungles the job, essentially, doesn't kill the target he's meant to. He knows exactly what's going to happen. He's been in this profession for a while now. So he goes to the Dominican Republic, and it's, the windows have been smashed in. He comes in, and he goes to the hospital. And I think, we only see her for like briefly for one scene. And I didn't get the connection there. If this is meant to be his only resource into empathy, if this is meant to be his only resource into humanity, and it's been now targeted. Sorry, my alarm's going off. So I'll just mute for a minute there. I'll let you guys speak while that's going on.
Hope everything's okay.
So how does it compare with the comics then?
I think he's in the comic. He's a little bit more of a nerd. He's a little bit more of. I mean, Fassbender, maybe because we've seen him in other things, and he, I think he would stand out a little bit more. But in the comic, he's a little bit more of a nerd. He's blends in a lot more, and I think in the comic he's more formidable. He doesn't make as many mistakes as he did. He does make mistakes, but he doesn't make he seems to be not as mistake prone, because like the whole nail thing where he uses the nails to try and get information out of somebody and they die. The dog that wakes up halfway through, he's trying to kill the person in Florida. So there's a few things he kind of goofs on. He makes a lot of mistakes in the film, more than in the book.
I quite like the humor of it, though. Like I said, with the nail gun in the chest, he obviously overcalculates, and I kind of found that funny, that bit. There's like little moments throughout The Killer. You think it's going to be this very serious, very somber David Fincher type of film, but there are little moments of levity, and that's one of them. It's dark humor. It's very wry, dark humor, but also at the same time, that's my kind of humor. So. I appreciated it. I can understand that some people might not, and some people might be thinking that that's not for them, and I get that completely. But yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, how was it? It was a don't adapt, anticipate, or something like that. And every time he would say that, he would anticipate poorly. I wish I remember the exact phrasing. It was like, oh yeah, you're gonna scroll.
Forbid empathy. Yeah.
Forbid empathy is weakness. Well,
empathy is weakness. Mm-hmm. I did think that Michael Fassbender was channeling a lot of David from Prometheus and Covenant in this. I don't know if that's just the way he was doing things. Maybe it's the American accent. I'm not too sure.
It does seem to just have those roles cut up for him. I mean, I haven't seen him do anything that required a lot of emotion or acting. He's very good at playing the robot, the killer, Magneto, the sociopath kind of. It seems to be his thing. I'm not sure if that. What does that say about the actor? I'm not complaining. I think he's fine for those roles, but it doesn't inspire a lot of empathy as well. So.
I think I read somewhere as well that he doesn't blink throughout the film until like the very end. I'm not sure if that's right or not, but yeah, because at the end, like at the very end when he's kind of sitting down on the thing, I think he actually. Yeah, I think he blinks. I could be reading into this completely wrong, but I think I did read somewhere that throughout the whole film, like you never really see him blink at all, and I think that's. I could be wrong.
Okay,
maybe I'm paraphrasing.
I'll have to watch it again.
But if that's a small sort of detail, then I do appreciate that, and because he's all about precision and perfection, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with David Fincher's directing style as well. With all the kind of films that he's directed in the past, there is a very tight, he knows what he wants when he's looking. I remember watching a little documentary about the fight scene that he has in the Bayou house kind of thing, and the way the camera pans, the way the camera moves in at certain times, the dead space over here, the anticipation of seeing something happen, but then it coming round. Like it's all tactfully, military type style, completed. And I think that works with the character of the killer, with, the tight script, the tight direction skills, the cinematography. It all kind of crescendos with each other, to this apex, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm. And I think Fincher's directing style fits pretty well. But like Susana said, I think there's not really I think it's pretty consistent throughout, and there's really not like a scene or a moment that really stands out. I think the scene in the restaurant with Tilda Swinton is probably the most memorable scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant scene. And a brilliant cameo as well. Where she's telling her little story. Because she knows she's dead. I mean, but you corner a survivor up against the wall, they're going to fight back. So I did appreciate the little end bit when, she's at the, give a girl a hand. Nope.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, but there was no scene apart from maybe the first scene when he misses. I wasn't expecting that he was going to miss. Every other death from then on was not a surprise. Even the nail gun wasn't that much of a surprise. There was no reaction. I was watching the movie very relaxed, even for my standards. I mean, I was not. There was no wow moments, but I was still engaged. I was still curious about it. I mean, I wasn't bored. So it's interesting how to kind of really keep that balance. If it was intentional, it was very well done.
So I've read something.
Just keeping the heart rate around 60.
I read something that it's not a story of redemption, but precision. It's what happens when one of the most precise people in the world makes a mistake. And I mean, we talk about the kind of the first segment when he's, going to shoot his target. Did he really miss, or was it just an ill-timed shot? Because of the...
Yeah, I think it was kind of unfortunate.
But I don't suppose it's a type of job that you can just call up your boss and say, whoopsie, made a mistake there. Be better on the next one.
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the vocabulary of the Assassin's Code.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised that even though they knew that they didn't kill him, that they tortured his girlfriend, that none of them seemed very concerned that he was still out there and he would come for them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just thought that he was going to pack his bags and leave, that the torture of his girlfriend was a message. I don't think they say at any point that, this has happened before where someone's bungled a job and the assassins had left. Maybe you doubt that they would come after you.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now that I think about it, it was kind of sloppy for the other assassins as well. I mean, this was a ruthless group of people, and why didn't they just kill the girlfriend and then just camp around the place and wait for him to return? Maybe just plot reasons.
Yeah, and so Stephen, you've read the graphic novel then. In the graphic novel, do they kill his girlfriend, or is the girlfriend even a thing? Or
No.
It's just the same type of...
Yeah, she's a thing and she's part of the story. I don't think it plays out exactly the same, but other than it being in the book, I don't really know what purpose that she serves other than
being the catalyst for him to do his deeds to get revenge. But is it revenge?
Yeah.
See, that's the interesting thing, because we've seen loads of films like this in the past where, a character will have his or her partner hurt in some way and they'll go tooth and nail, fight through the 7 shades of hell to get to the end boss guy, and then have like a redemptive arc throughout it, perhaps. With this one, you're kind of already... The cards are stacked against you in that respect, because this is a killer. We're not really meant to empathize with this person, are we? Is it then more so it's a good thing that we don't really get to see these other people's lives, these other assassins and whatnot, because at the end of the day, then that curries our favor with the main character, the killer. We get to when we're in the... is it the bayou he's in when he's got the dog and he has the massive fight with the guy who's... but we don't really kind of sort of see shades of this person's life. And so this guy's a partier sort of thing, maybe. He likes to enjoy himself, maybe into some nefarious things happening here. but he's just fighting for his life at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be just a comic book, twirling his mustache villain in that respect, but yeah, it's an interesting one.
One thing I wasn't sure of is why didn't he kill the last person? Because he climbs the ladder all the way up, gets in, and led to that he ordered it on Amazon. But he
can we do a Mythbusters on that? Can we find out if that's actually a thing?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing.
Copying the fob key. Yeah. Sorry, Steve. Go.
But I thought it was funny that he gets an Amazon package and it's what allows him to get in. So he gets in there. He is able to kill him, but he doesn't. And I didn't know why he didn't. Because of business opportunities later, but if that's who's responsible, then why kill everyone else and not him? Is it bad for business? Bad for him?
I guess because he wasn't really responsible. He was just, kind of an idiot, wanted someone killed, and then the other guy that he kills with a nail gun, he was the one that put everything in motion. That screw him over, so to speak. And the last one, it wasn't really worth it. But then again, he killed people for less. Maybe he just got tired. Maybe he just preferred to leave someone alive as a message. Don't screw with me, or I don't know. Maybe he just likes the risk,
I mean, one could argue that he's killed all these other people. So he's killed like the two main assassins that were there that tortured his girlfriend, right? Tilda Swinton's character and the guy who has the dog. He's killed the... would you say he's not the benefactor as such, the legal guy? Who was that his handler? I can't remember if it was his handler or not, or just someone who basically got him.
I got the impression that it was his handler, or whoever was in charge of the assassins.
And then why doesn't he kill Claiborne? Maybe that in itself is a message. The message is like, you can try and send more people after me. I'm just going to kill them. If you're the guy who is the puppet master, who lays out all the cash and sets up things, then do I really, if I kill you, do I give myself more grief in the long run? Because then someone's just going to come up and take your position of power, and then the cycle starts again. Or by me sparing your life, does that tell you, all right, we're even now. Let's call it quits. We can either start again under a different guise, or I just go my merry way. You go your merry way. That's it. Because he's not the killer isn't a type of character in my head anyway that doesn't elicit. He's killed all these people not to show a message, but just to, like in sort of, gross point blank, Lee Marvin, it's that kind of thing of there's a certain code in his head. There's a certain rule that he just wants to showcase to that point at the end where it's like, I could kill you now. That would be very easy. We know this. We both know this. So I'm going to walk away. And therefore, that's my message to you and to the company. Or do they ever call the company anything? Like the assassin company? It's not really called it. It's not really given a name or anything, is it? So maybe...
No.
My kind of... Well, my way of explaining it to myself is that, yeah, he's not going to disrupt the status quo now. He's kind of told his point. He's killed all the kind of people that hurt him or hurt his girlfriend, thereby by proxy hurting him. And even though he says, like, I don't even know who you are, he's like, you're just like a number. I push the buttons here or there. I say this to that person, they get it done. I don't even know that this was Tuesday for me when this happened. It's just what we do. So, yeah, I think he doesn't want to upset the power balance, perhaps. Maybe the ending is very abrupt. So we don't know whether he's done with that lifestyle or whether he's just going to go back into it again. I would think that gives you a little insight into the character. Like not that he enjoys killing, but he's so good at it, he's so proficient at it. He's mechanical. He's like a well-oiled machine that with him stopping, that would be his, hell, so to speak. So by keeping this man alive, he knows he's given himself a chip to play in a game again if, another target comes up in the future. Perhaps one possible scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one I think is the one I'd go for anyway.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Let me just do some reading here. Let me see if there's any other.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, and I mean it's like a week in the life or a few days in the life of a hitman.
Mm-hmm. It is a very simple story. It's not even that original, but it's just a different approach. Well, fine. I guess we don't need to have all the answers. I mean, at the end, it does take all the money or whatever money he had in the US transferred to the Caribbean, so it kind of gives the impression that he's retiring. But, he still stays in his home, in his base. So, and he showed his face to the other guys, so he's pretty confident that he's not going after him. Or maybe, like I said, maybe he wants to. Maybe just he can't give it up completely. He needs to have that risk.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, because he starts saying that he's one of the few, but then he ends saying that maybe one of the many. What do you make of that? Are we all a little bit sociopathic to that degree, or it needs a special type of character to be a killer? I think that was the question.
I don't think he's accepted it though, because when he does say now he's one of the many, there's a little twitch in his eye, isn't there? I think that's kind of the message of he can't really accept this, and that's, I think, then enforces.
Yeah, but as he went around killing the other assassins, they were kind of regular people, especially Tilda Swinton character. He was impressed of how's this suburban housewife, so kind of implies that everyone has this secret life or the potential to have this secret life that no one would ever suspect.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good showcase as well that, like, as you mentioned, like the Tilda Swinton's character could just be a normal housewife going about her daily chores, could be a killer. I think the perception is that most of society is brought up to have that equilibrium of societal politeness, where doing something like that would be so against our moral compass that we wouldn't even fathom doing something like that. But there are certain people in the world who, wouldn't have that type of blocker for them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a whole lot more. I'm trying to think of other things to bring up. There's not a whole lot.
If there was some deep message hidden in the movie, I think we missed it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to make us think about it too much. It was just to entertain, to make us wonder, how far would we go? Could we be like that? And also kind of a bit of escapism. Does just be in these assassins' shoes for a week. Just be a little bit immoral and bad for a while. It's entertaining.
Yeah. I think it's that kind of fantasy element as well, isn't it? Because, like, I mean, I know in real life I would be the worst assassin in the world ever. I would bodge up so many things. Even like the like when he's got the scooter at the start and has to kind of pay it on his card and whatnot. I know what you could have like contingency plans if something goes wrong. You'd have like your escape route set out and everything like that. I know for a certain 100% fact that there would just be some kind of thing happen that I would come down to the scooter and it just wouldn't be working, or I hadn't paid the top-up card for it or something like that, and I'd start just running, just pelting it down the road and then be picked up by the cops. So, yeah. Or maybe that's my ruse. Maybe my inability, like Columbo, I'm sort of giving off the air that I'm inept at these type of things, and then I'm actually one of the world's leading deadly assassins.
Yeah.
I think I would have the patience for it. I wouldn't mind the stakeouts and just the planning. I think I would really enjoy the planning. But I would have to know exactly who I was killing. I would be picky about my contracts. But if it was, someone that deserves killing, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it'd be tough. I think because if you may miss out on a big one if you are too picky, and then no one wants to work with you. So it's tough.
But I would definitely enjoy the planning. I think so.
Yeah. The waiting would be torture.
Like a lot of these type of films, though, like
a nice book.
reading a nice little book, just be like,
Yes,
but like it's sort of like in the John Wick world, they've spent the fourth film now that's come out, and there's the series and the Continental. They're looking into the mythology of the company at the heart of everything. And there was a point when he goes to see his handler that I was thinking, are we going to get to see the inner workings of this company that he works for? And it's kind of hinted at a little bit, but I've always been fascinated with the actual, like the people that put this team together. Like, we have the Tilda Swinton character who could just be a housewife, a very, likes what she is buying and stays in these fancy restaurants and stuff like that. Maybe she has a particular set of skills that Michael Fassbender's killer doesn't, so she gets hired out for this particular job. And then you have the other guy who's a bit more of a brute sort of thing, that's kind of like, maybe he's hired out for certain jobs like that. I'd like to delve deeper into those insights, into those like the company picking the people for the jobs and whatnot. And I'd quite like to see a little spin-off. The Continental, for me, I got a few episodes in and I just couldn't really get into it. I don't know what it was. I just stopped watching it. But I like the whole, even with John Wick, as I said, like you have the kind of people on the phones, they've got the old style 1940 style plug-in phones, and everything's all a bit more. So yeah, I like that interesting sort of part of it, but it didn't really touch into that because that's not really the story. That's not why we're here. But yeah, I would like to see a film of that ilk. There probably is films out there like that, but I haven't seen one for a while.
Yeah, it would be good. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel or a spin-off or something, but I don't know. I don't know if it did well enough. It's with the Netflix, it's hard to know because, can't exactly see box office numbers since it was streaming. So, but hopefully it did okay. But anything else either of you can think of?
The one thing I was going to say, like did you guys think when he goes to see the handler guy and staples his chest, and you have the assistant who he ties up in the bathroom, and there's a moment where she's like, "Oh, can you let me go?" And he's like, I don't plan to kill you. I think we all know in the back of our heads, yeah, you're gonna get killed, because that's his MO, right? Like he can't let anyone see his face or see what happens. But was there any part of you that thought maybe he is going to let her go? No.
She was done.
Yeah.
Loose ends.
Well, this is it. I was kind of thinking if he did let her go, I thought that might be his psyche unraveling a little bit more. But he's too precise for that type of stuff to happen. I just thought it would have been a good character element. Maybe it would have been too Hollywood-esque. That's why it was like, no, we're going to keep and he snaps her neck and she falls down the stairs. Brilliant, hitman style target or accidental death type of thing, because you'd never be able to kind of tell with that one. Maybe the guy, he takes the guy in the recycling bin, doesn't he? So you wouldn't see him in the office, but yeah.
Well, you would be able to tell with her because she would have at least restraint marks on her wrists. If nothing else, that might be suspicious. Maybe that's the sequel.
That's true, yeah. It's true. Yeah, after he killed the taxi driver, or the driver, I think if he didn't let him go, he's not going to
let anyone else go, yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. Well, cool. Yeah, this was kind of a different one. Kind of a yeah. I enjoyed it though. It was fun.
Yeah, it was all right.
I always enjoy a David Fincher film, especially when he teams up with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for the soundtrack and everything. You've got the writer from Seven. It's a culmination of just very gifted and talented people, especially Michael Fassbender. The man can do no wrong in my eyes. Great performance. Whether it's subtle or nuanced or leaning in a certain way, that's for people to decide. But no, I really enjoyed The Killer. It is a slow burn film. Don't be expecting, shootouts and, well, there is a house that gets on fire and there are very brutal
it's
fight
almost
scene.
like the anti-John Wick.
Yeah.
The chilled version.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the anti-John Wick. The quiet John Wick. Yeah. Well, cool. So, I guess until next time, Susana, where can people find you?
You can find me on the page chewing forums and on X as Chronodendron, and you can find my books everywhere. Timelessness is the name of the series. First book is Weird Gods. I have a new one coming up next month, Oublié, available for pre-order. Check it out.
Yes, check it out. And Anthony.
Yep, you can also find me on the Page Chewing forums. Bunch of very nice people indeed. You can also catch my indie game playthroughs of horror on Horrible on YouTube, and my books on Amazon, Birthday Treat and Catbox and Other Strange Tales.
Yes, I'll have those links down below. So until next time, thanks everyone, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.